Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Butt Fumble Sports Daily Show. So wonderful to have you with us as we talk sports, sports betting research, and fantasy sports almost every single day. Great to have you with us, no matter the platform you're watching on: TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, and Kick. Wonderful to have you guys with us across all these platforms. I hope you're having a wonderful Tuesday. I hope your Monday went well with your bets, your picks, however you played it. Congratulations to the Florida Panthers. What a performance in that Stanley Cup Final Game 7, winning 2-1. The under did cash, and our concerns were there the entire time about whether the Panthers would win or not. They ended up winning. Bizarre Conn Smythe, I both thought Connor McDavid deserved it. On the other hand, when you don't win, should you win? But that's a question for another time. We're focused on the action for Tuesday. What's going down in MLB, a full slate of games, and that's where we're going to spend our time. Unlike yesterday where we did some fantasy football talk, we are going to be focusing on the games today across MLB because we have killersports.com back up and running. So with that said, we're going to spend our time focusing on just that. And with that, leading in right there, so far this year on Tuesdays, the best teams on the run line are the Athletics and the White Sox, believe it or not. So two teams you might not expect to have really good histories on a Tuesday. They're doing quite well. Athletics are 10-2 on the run line on Tuesdays so far this season. White Sox are 8-3 on the run line. Dodgers are 9-4. They're playing the White Sox, so an interesting one there. As for the best straight-up records on Tuesdays so far this season, Diamondbacks are 10-2. Dodgers are 10-3. Phillies are 9-3, and the Mariners are 9-3. Looking at the over-under, best teams when it comes to the over so far this year on Tuesdays are the Guardians, Angels, Rockies, and Twins. Best teams when it comes to the under, Braves, Pirates, Reds, and Phillies. Do those have any bearing on what we're going to bet on today? May not, but we're going to check on everything to make sure we're giving you guys the best advice possible. That's what Butt Fumble Sports is about. It's a sports research channel. That's what we focus on. Sometimes that's used for betting. Sometimes that's used for fantasy sports. But our approach is there must be something behind the data. I am not a professional sports bettor. I never want to come across that way. We do our research. We lean towards what the research is telling us with our picks. We usually get all of our picks together we hit at about a 55% clip across round robins, parlays, and individual plays. When it comes to just individual plays, we're at around a 65 to 67% hit rate. But that doesn't mean that I'm a sports bettor or a professional sports bettor. My background's actually in sports content creation with ESPN, Fox Sports, CBS Sports, and for Jim Rome. With that said, we're going to focus on the data and the games today. So if you do have a question, feel free to fire it and throw it in the comment section. All about it. Mo, you get the honor of the first question today. You're asking about the Phillies and the Tigers. Let's dive into this one. So far, the market being bought around this game has to do with the Phillies. 82% of the tickets, that's overall bets on the game, are being placed on the Phillies. But 95% of the money that's being bet on this game is on the Phillies to win. As for the spread, 95% of tickets and 96% of money is on Philadelphia to cover a -1.5 run line. That -1.5 is available at +146 where I see it. Over is getting a bit more love from both tickets and from the money. The over-under is currently set at 7.5. Let's dive into the trends on this one, everyone. First things first, I want to look at how the Phillies have done coming off win and then facing a left-handed starting pitcher. They're facing Tariq Skubal on the mound for tonight's game. He's been fantastic so far this year. Phillies coming off a win, facing a lefty in the following game. 10-8 straight up, 7-11 on the run line. Under has performed better at 11-5-2. When that win came on the road and then they faced a left-handed pitcher, 3-3 straight up, 2-4 across the run line, 3-2-1 on the over-under. How about when they were in the second game of a series and they won the first game? Phillies under that scenario, 4-4 straight up, 4-4 on the run line. Unders performed better at 4-2-2. Thus far, the thing that may be standing out the most is the under, but I don't trust that simply because the Phillies bats are hot right now. Let's dive into the starting pitchers. Maybe there's something to be found there. We're looking at Ranger Suarez of the Phillies. Ranger Suarez, when the team is coming off an away win and he takes the mound. Phillies are 4-1 straight up in that scenario, 4-1 on the run line. Under, once again, has been very strong at 4-1. I'm kind of curious, how have the Phillies done so far this year when the total has been set at under 8 runs? When it's purely under 8, it's set at 7.5 right now. Phillies are 8-7 straight up, 14-11 on the run line. Over-under has been 12, 10, and 3. Phillies have really actually impressed. They had 4 straight games under the scenario back in March and early April in which they lost. Since then, they've been phenomenal. In fact, I want to dive into that a little bit more. Since, let's say, April 10th, Phillies are 18-3 when the total has been less than 8 runs. When they play on the road in that scenario, 7-3. Interesting. So the wins have come at home, not so much on the road. Just kind of interesting to note there. How about when they've had a line under 130? I want it under 130 in this case. I'll look at across the board for the entire season. Phillies so far this season, when the total's been less than 8 and they've been a favorite of minus 130 or less. 5-2 straight up, 4-3 on the run line. Over has performed better under that scenario at 5-2. The 2 games that came against the left-handed starter were both wins. They split on over-under. Ranger Suarez, I'm kind of interested by this. When the line has been less than or equal to 130, he's 4-0. Over-under's been split at 2-2. But the Phillies have been a great play. Ranger Suarez at this line or worse so far this year is 4-0 straight up and 4-0 on the run line. If I expand that out to be under minus 150, he's 5-0 straight up, 5-0 on the run line. I'm curious about this. I just want to go in another direction as we're just doing our research now, trying to find different ways to create good angles and good trends for what we're focused on. Ranger Suarez in his career, when he faces a sub-500 team, on the road as a favorite. So far under that scenario, on the road as a favorite against a sub-500 opponent, 11-7 in his career, 10-8 on the run line. Under has performed better at 12-6. Under's been a better play of late, going 5-2 over his last 7 starts under that scenario. That dates back to about mid-June of last year. Let's flip it around and look at it from the Tigers' point of view. Again, for those new to the show, this is what we tend to do. Just doing our research, looking for various trends, trying to find the best betting opportunities based on what the data is telling us. I'm not saying the data always gets it right, but maybe that can give confirmation, affirmation to some of the things you're betting, or maybe it holds you back from some of the things that best to avoid. Let's dive into the Tigers coming off a home loss, second game of a series. So far this year, they're actually 5-2 straight up, 5-2 on the run line, 5-2 favoring the over. I want to now check how the Tigers have done under the same scenario of the Phillies. The line for the Tigers side of things is 105. It's low. When it's been under 110 so far this year, Tigers are 12-8, 8-12 on the run line. Over's been slightly better. When it's been that line and that total and they've been at home, here's an interesting trend. Over is 9-2. The over is 9-2. When the Tigers have had a total less than 8 runs at home and they've been an underdog or a favorite under 110, plus 110 is what we're talking about here. So that's kind of an interesting trend there, that over stands out under that scenario. Just one more thing I want to check before we look at the starting pitcher, Tarik Skubal. I want to look at how the Tigers have done against left-handed starting pitchers. They're under the same scenario as the Phillies are, facing a southpaw. They're 8-8 straight up, 7-9 on the run line, 8-8 on the over-under across the board against lefties. When they're at home against the lefty, 4-4 straight up, 3-5 on the run line, nothing giving there. How about when they're a home dog against the left-handed starting pitcher? 1-1 across the board. So nothing we can really glean from that. If I had to bet anything on this game, since we're putting our picks, let's focus on Skubal really quick before we finish out and make our pick for this one. We're going to look at this season and specifically how the southpaw for the Tigers has done. They're 10-5 in his starts. Only 7-8 on the run line, though. The over has been better at 10-5, though the under has hit in back-to-back games. In fact, he has gotten 0 runs of support in his last two starts. Pretty terrible. When he's been at home as an underdog. He hasn't been a home dog so far this year. When he's been an underdog at any point this year, here's an interesting one for you. As an underdog, he's 0-3 straight up, 0-3 on the run line. I'm going to lean, in this case, towards the Phillies. I'll take the Phillies on the money line, but I think there's value in taking the Tigers plus 1.5. So I can understand if you want to split the difference, but if I had to make a pick on this one, I'll take the Phillies on the money line. Let's jump on over really quick and look at the player prop bets. Sometimes we can take a little bit of extra information from that. We're using Outlier as our source of research for the stats and the player trends. Little history against the starting pitcher for the Phillies. For the starting pitcher of the Tigers. Whit Merrifield, he's got the most at-bats, but other than that, nothing. Against left-handed pitching so far this year, Schwarber hitting .342. Trey Turner hitting .328. Bryce Harper hitting .305. Sosa hitting .340. So a number of hitters hitting left-handed pitching very well. Something we like about the Phillies lineup today. As for Ranger Suarez, kind of a similar story. Limited history for Tiger hitters against Ranger Suarez. Only Mark Canha, who is 2 for 6 lifetime with a home run, 3 RBIs. Mark Canha is hitting .302. Mark Canha might be someone you actually want to bet on. So if you can get him over half a hit, which you can, he's got a hit in 6 of his last 10 games, specifically against left-handed starting pitching. He has a hit in 4 straight, 7 of his last 10. When it's at home against the left-handed starter, he has a hit in 9 of his last 10 games. So I'm going to put this one up on the board. Mark Canha, over half a hit. But that's not the only one. I do like Kyle Schwarber and Edmund Sosa as well. Let's jump back over to the Philly side of things. Sosa, Edmundo Sosa, when he's gone up against a left-handed starting pitcher, has a hit in 7 of his last 10 games overall. On the road, 8 of his last 10, really 8 of his last 9. He has been fantastic against left-handed starting pitching. He has a hit in 15 of his last 20 games on the road against the left-handed starting pitcher. So I would put him up here as well. Again, maybe not a sexy play, but certainly one that you can feel good about. Sosa, over half a hit. Kyle Schwarber was one I mentioned a moment ago as well. Kyle Schwarber, against left-handed starting pitching, hitting .342. He has a hit in 13 of his last 20. He doesn't have a hit in his last 2 games overall. Over his last 20, that's only happened once, and he came out of that, and he went on a nice hitting streak of 7 games. Against left-handed starting pitching, though, he has a 5-game hitting streak. He's got a hit in 16 of his last 20 games against the left-handed starter, and on the road, 15 of his last 20. I would also take Kyle Schwarber over half a hit. So putting a couple of player prop bets up on the board as well for all of those that are curious. Definitely encourage some of those plays. Mark Canha, Kyle Schwarber, and we also mentioned Edmundo Sosa is another one that we want to try to get investment on. I know he's 0 for 2 lifetime against Skubal. That doesn't concern me, just given how he's been hitting of late against left-handed starting pitching. Okay, we broke it down, Mo. Hope you enjoy that game. Good luck to you as a sports bettor if that's what you're focused on. NFL guy, what's good? NFL guy, make sure that you join us. We're going to continue to do fantasy football mock drafts. We actually started one yesterday, so all about it. Diamond Ramirez, I tend to agree with you. I think the Tigers can take it. I'm actually going to put up what I originally have is Tigers plus 1.5, Phillies on the money line. I do think Phillies get the win, but I'll take the Tigers to cover in what's going to be a tighter game. Appreciate you guys being with us. Hope you guys are loving the content and loving the conversation. Jennifer, great to see you guys on the show. Hope you're doing well. By the way, for those that are curious, a couple of the ballparks that are favorable towards offense tonight, Cincinnati, they'll be hosting the Pittsburgh Pirates. Great American ballpark, really favorable towards home runs and offense. Fenway Park, the wind is blowing out to right field, which is a little risky in terms of home runs, but the likelihood of runs definitely up for Fenway Park for that Blue Jays and Red Sox game. Another one, Comerica Park. We were just talking about the Phillies and the Tigers, likelihood of overall runs up on that one. Miami and Kansas City, over in Kansas City. Royals, likelihood of runs up 14% in that game. And the last one that really stands out from an offensive standpoint is Chicago, Dodgers, White Sox. Likelihood of home runs on that one up very high. 26% increase in the likelihood of home runs according to ballparkpal.com. And likelihood of runs overall up 10%. We just talked about the Phillies. We like the Phillies on the money line. We like the Tigers to cover the plus 1.5. 3 hitters we think are going to get a hit in that game. Mark Canha, Edmundo Sosa, and Kyle Schwarber. We like them for over half a hit. Next game we're going to focus on is entirely up to you guys. So whatever you guys care about, that's what we're going to focus on. So make sure you throw your questions, your comments in the chat. This show is designed for the fans, so if there's something you care about, if there's a topic you want us to rant about, that's what we're going to do. Sam Taylor is asking about the Subway Series between the Yankees and the Mets. That's got Garrett Cole on the mound for that one going up against David Peterson. Let's get to our market before we start diving into some of the trends. Game first pitch at 7:10. Likelihood in terms of market that you're going to get anything other than the Yankees when Yankees and Mets get together is very rare, so just be aware of that. But 83% of tickets are on the Yankees to win, 85% of the money, so no love for Grimace, at least in terms of the market. Yankees minus 1.5, that's getting 96% of the tickets, 95% of the money. The over is getting a bit more love from both the tickets and the money, over 8.5 for this game. Right now, Garrett Cole, as I mentioned, on the mound, making what I believe is his second start of the year. Yankees, when they're coming off a day of rest, I meant to put one here. When the Yankees are coming off 1 day of rest so far this year, they're 5-2 straight up, 5-2 on the run line. Interesting to note, the under has been a good play. The under is 6-1 when the Yankees are coming off 1 day of rest. Moving to the next trend I want to focus on. How about the Mets? Mets on 1 day of rest. 3-4 straight up, 3-4 on the run line. Over's been slightly better at 4-3. The one thing to note here, though, is other than early wins for the Mets, they actually had a run there of losses. They're 1-4 in their last 5 games off 1 day of rest. I want to specifically look at how the Mets have done. I want to look at how the Mets have done against teams with winning records. Yankees have an above 600 winning percentage so far this year. How have the Mets done under that scenario? KillerSports.com's loading up. So someone was asking really quick while it loads. Here we go. So the Mets against winning teams so far this season who have a winning percentage above 600. They're actually 15-20, better than I would have thought. 14-21 on the run line. Still losing record, but still. How about when they're at home under that scenario? 9-14 straight up, 6 and 17 on the run line. Under's been better at 15 and 8 towards the under. Under's starting to build a bit of momentum for me in terms of being a solid play. Wow, Mets have lost their last 5 games against a team with a winning record, a winning percentage of 600 or greater when they play at home. When they're an underdog under that scenario. Wow, we have our first mega trend of the night. Our first mega trend of the night. The Mets, when they face a team with a winning percentage 600 or greater, and they are a home underdog, they are 0 and 7. The Mets are 0 and 7 straight up under that scenario. On the run line, they're 1 and 6. As for the over-under, the under is 6 and 1. Under's been a good play everywhere we looked at this game. So I'll certainly put that one up on the board. I like Yankees, Mets. I'll take the under 8.5. I'm taking Yankees on the money line. And as of right now, I like the Yankees at the -1.5. But let's dive into it a little bit more. When the Mets have a total, let's say under 9, they're a home underdog with a total under 9. Mets are 2 and 8 in that scenario. They have won their last 2 in a row. Under is 7 and 3. They're averaging around 7.5 runs per game total. They're averaging 2 runs scored. Their opponent 6.5. But that said, love the case I'm seeing here. Really quick, just want to complete the thought on the Mets. When the line for them is less than or equal to 130. 28 and 8. Total under 9. When that's coming at home. 18 and 19, interesting there. 11 and 26. They've actually won 5 in a row under that scenario. But I like the trends that we saw a moment ago. I think those stand out a little bit more. I'll take the Yankees on the money line. I won't throw up -1.5, but I feel like that's a strong play as well. Let's jump on over to the player prop bets for this one. Now that we've made some picks, forgive me, I've got some fruit flies in the kitchen. With that said, by the way, that sounds like it should be a baseball term. I got some fruit flies in the kitchen. With that said, let's check out the Yankees and the Mets lineups against these starting pitchers. David Peterson, limited sample size against the starting lineup of the Yankees. Not any numbers that are impressive other than Gleyber Torres, 1 at bat, 1 home run. Is that enough to get us excited? Not really. I would say if Aaron Judge is playing in this game, over half a hit is available. Against the left-handed starting pitcher, he has a hit in 6 of his last 10 games. On the road against the left-handed starting pitcher, 8 of his last 10. So I would certainly keep my eye on that. On the other side of things, against Garrett Cole, there are actually some Mets who hit him decently well. So, yeah, there are a couple of Mets who hit him well. Vientos, 1 for 2. McNeil, 2 for 5. Brandon Nimmo, 2 for 6. I say hit him well, but this is limited sample size. Meanwhile, Lindor, 12 at-bats, 164. J.D. Martinez, 34 at-bats, 176. Alonso doesn't have a hit against him. I'm actually okay with what I'm seeing here. If I did have to put any bet down on a Met to get a hit, Vientos would probably be the one I'd go with, but I don't have enough confidence in it. So the only player I'd probably go with for over half a hit is going to be Aaron Judge. I'll put him up on the big board for everybody. Again, if you're watching over on TikTok right now, if you guys want to see the big board and see the research that I'm doing live during the show, make sure you just jump on over to YouTube, Twitch, or Kick. That's where you can watch the entire show and see everything I'm doing up on my screen. By the way, Diego, you were asking about that Reds game and whether I thought there was going to be a run in the first inning. The answer is yes. I think there will be a run in the first inning of Pirates and Reds. Pirates and Reds between Mitch Keller and Hunter Green. I would say yes to a run in the first inning. Diego, you may feel otherwise, but I actually am going yes to a run in the first inning. I also like the over in that game. Let's dive into that one actually right now. Pirates are in the second game of the series. They're coming off an away loss last night. Reds got the better of them. Under that scenario, they're 4-2 straight up, 4-2 on the run line. Over-under has been 4-2 favoring the under. Looking at it from the Pirates side of things, when the Pirates have faced a team with a losing record so far this year, and they're an away underdog. Pirates under that scenario, 5-9 straight up, 7-7 on the run line. Over's been 8-5-1. Pirates have lost their last 3 straight and 4 of their last 5 under this scenario. Their wins, 2 of them came very early in the year. When this is the case against a division opponent so far this year, 0-2 straight up, 0-2 on the run line, but Bailey Falter was pitching both of those. Maybe the story of this game for the Pirates truly is about Mitch Keller, their starting pitcher. When Mitch Keller's been on the mound so far this year, Pirates are 10-5 straight up, and they've actually been very impressive since about the beginning of May. They have 2, 4, 6, 7 wins in their last 8 games with Mitch Keller on the mound. The under's been very strong as well. Under's been 9-6, but the under is hit in 5 of his last 6 starts. How has he done so far against the division? Against other NL Central teams, 3-2 straight up, 2-3 on the run line. Under has been slightly better at 3-2. How about when Mitch Keller pitches after a loss for the Pirates? Under that scenario, 6-4 straight up. He's actually been one of their stoppers. He has a win in 5 of his last 6 games when the Pirates are coming off a loss. When that game is coming off an away loss, he is 3-2 straight up, 3-2 on the run line. So not actually as good as I would have expected. Again, home field advantage making a big difference. Really quick, I just want to check when the line for him has been greater than 8 runs. The total rather, is set right now at 9. When he's had a total above 8 runs, wow. Pirates are 7-1 straight up and 7-1 on the run line when Mitch Keller has pitched this year and the total has been above 8 runs. Oh, I screwed that up. Forgive me. When the total is over 8, he's 3-2. When the line, let's say, is greater or equal to 110, that's where it is. So when Mitch Keller is an underdog of 110 or more in this scenario, he's 6-1 straight up, 6-1 on the run line. Over's 5-2. Again, I'm seeing the over set at 8.5. I kind of like the over personally, and I'm certainly seeing reason to think the Pirates plus 1.5 might be a decent play. Jumping back over really quick, let's take a look at the market before we break down the Reds side of things. Right now, 80% of the tickets are on the Reds to win, but only 72% of the money, so a bit of discrepancy there. As for the run line of Reds minus 1.5, 77% of tickets and 77% of the money is on the Reds to cover that run line. Over is getting a bit more love, 87% of tickets and 86% of the money, over 9, but the over 9 is even, plus 100 flat. So reason to think you can actually buy that down and get good value. Now let's look at the Reds side of things. When the Reds have played this year, when they've had a total greater, let's say greater than 8, let's keep it at that. 26-26, interesting that they've been completely flat. How about at home as a favorite with a total above 8 runs? 12-13 straight up, 9-16 on the run line, 12-12-1 across the board on the over-under. Slightly better winning streak over the last, let's say, 6 games. They're 4-2 over their scenario with this being the case. How about within the division when they've played the NL Central as a home favorite and the total's been above 8 runs? 6-4 straight up, 4-6 on the run line. Over-under has been 5-5. They do have a 4-game winning streak under that scenario. Hunter Green on the mound for the Reds. Let's look at Hunter Green's stats and see if there's something to take from that. When Hunter Green has towed the rubber this year for the Reds, they're 5-10 straight up, 7-8 on the run line. Over-under favors the under slightly at 8-6-1. He has won 3 of his last 5 starts. He had a terrible April, losing every one but one of his starts in April. May wasn't that much kinder. June's been slightly better. When he's pitched at home as a favorite, Hunter Green is 1-6 on the run line, 1-6 straight up. I finally found what I'm going to go with for this game. I know ballparkpal.com may not agree with me. I'm going to take the Pirates on this one. I'm going to take the Pirates to cover, And personally, I could see the Pirates winning this one outright. I know I'm taking a bit of a risk. The Reds are getting hot right now. Really quick though, I know I just put it up on the board, so maybe I'm going to have to rip it off before we actually make it official. But Pirates and Reds, let's just look at how these two lineups have done against the starting pitching. Hunter Green, Rowdy Tellez hits him very well. 13 at-bats, 3.08 average. Keep your eye on him. Yasmani Grandal, but other than that, no one really hits him well. O'Neal Cruz does have a home run against him. O'Neal Cruz might be someone that you want to keep your eye on. Over half a hit in his last 10 games against a right-handed starter, hitting 6 of his last 10 on the road, 7 of his last 10, including 4 straight. O'Neal Cruz, over half a hit, definitely someone to consider. Mitch Keller, Reds hit him a little bit better. Spencer Steer, Jonathan India, both hit him well. Larger sample sizes. Spencer Steer, over half a hit, very big on that. He has a hit in 7 of his last 10 against a right-handed starter. I'd add him to also some picks. So, really quick, Spencer Steer, over half a hit. And personally, I like O'Neal Cruz as well. But I would also say, keep your eye on Rowdy Tellez. There might be some value there, especially he doesn't have a home run against Hunter Green, but he's in a good home run ballpark. So the picks we've given out so far during the show are Phillies on the money line, Tigers plus 1.5, Yankees and Mets under 8.5, Yankees on the money line, Pirates plus 1.5. I would also take the over, Pirates and Reds. I would take the over, and personally, I would take it at an alternative line. You guys know that's what I tend to do. Right now, it opened at 8.5 and went up to 9. I like it at the over 7.5. I think this gets to at least 8 runs without an issue, but I'll take the over 7.5 at minus 165. I feel like that's actually a very strong play, so I'll add that to the board as well. Over 7.5 for the Pirates and the Reds. G-Man, take the Orioles and big, he says. Orioles are the first game of the evening, first pitch at 6:35, so a little bit over an hour from now. Let's dive into that one, everybody. We're going into Guardians and Orioles. Guardians got the win yesterday. Surprise victory, game 2, when they're coming off an away win. The Guardians so far this year, 5-2 straight up, 4-3 on the run line. Under's been slightly better at 4-3, but it's hit in 3 straight games when they are coming off this scenario of game 2 of a series, road win in game 1. Looking at the Orioles side of things here, when the Orioles are coming off a home loss, regardless of everything else, just coming off a home loss, Orioles are 11-3 straight up. 11-3 straight up when they're coming off a home loss. When they're in game 2 of a series coming off a home loss, they're 3-1 straight up. Not actually as good as you want that to be. 2-2 on the run line. Under's been slightly better at 2, 1-1. They have won 3 straight in this scenario. One thing that also stands out about this one, Orioles are facing a left-handed starting pitcher. So how have they done so far this year against Southpaws? Let's check it out. Against left-handed starting pitching, the Orioles so far this year are 14-8 straight up, but they have been struggling actually over their last 5 games. They're 1-4 in their last 5 against left-handed starting pitchers. When they are at home against the left-handed starter, 7-3 straight up. They've won 5 of their last 6 under that scenario. I'm also curious, when they faced a left-handed starting pitcher at home against a team that has a winning record, because the Guardians do. Orioles under that scenario, 3-2 straight up. So their 2 losses did come against winning teams under that scenario. Against Southpaws, on winning teams overall, 6-5 straight up, 5-6 on the run line, over under split at 5-1. Kind of interesting there. I expected them to be a bit better. They've lost their last 2 in a row against the left-handed starting pitcher. How about against the left-handed starting pitcher, team with a winning record, and they're coming off a loss? 3-3. Okay. Kind of a bit of reason to be cautious on this one. I think the Orioles are probably going to win, but I'm seeing some trends that actually aren't as favorable as I would have liked. Logan Allen on the mound. Let's check out Logan Allen's stats. We'll get to Cole Irvin, the starting pitcher of the Orioles, in a moment. But Logan Allen, 9-6 so far this year when he's taken the mound. How about when the team is coming off a win in the previous game? 6-5. Over is 9-1-1. Holy crap. After an away win, over's 3-0-1. Over's getting a lot of love over here. Reason to believe in it. Total set at 9.5. Kind of interested by that. When the Orioles have a total greater than 8 so far this year, 23-17 straight up. How about when they're at home as a favorite, when the total is greater than 8 runs, 11-6. When they're coming off a loss under that scenario, 3-0 straight up, 3-0 on the run line. I know that narrows it down very tight, but overall, when the total has been over 9 runs, because it's at 9.5 as I'm seeing it now, it's only happened once this year, and they did win that game. That was against the Angels earlier this year. Under that same scenario, the Guardians, when they've had a total greater than 9 runs, 2-2 straight up, 2-2 on the run line. Over-under has been 2-1-1 favoring the over. I'm going to take the Orioles on the money line right now. I like the Orioles on the money line to win this game, but I would take the over as well. Plenty of reasons for me to believe in the over. Guardians, Orioles, I'll take the over. I'm going to buy it down. I'll take it at the over 8.5. Only one other thing I wanted to check. Might cause me to rip something off the board, but for the moment, I just want to see Cole Irvin really quick. Cole Irvin, when he's been on the mound for the Orioles so far this year, 9-3 straight up, 9-3 on the run line. Under's been slightly better. When he pitches at home this year, under's been better at 4-2-1, 4-2-1. That doesn't scare me enough though. When he's pitched as a favorite, yeah, 6-3. And when the Orioles are coming off a loss and Cole Irvin takes the mound, 2-0 straight up, 2-0 on the run line. I like the Orioles on the money line. I like the over 8.5 for Guardians and Orioles. If you could get it even lower, I'd take it. But for the purposes of the big board, that's where I come out. Let's jump on over to the player prop bets and see if there's anything we like for this game. Orioles and Guardians. Again, this is the first game to go, so we'll have to get the picks in for this one. A couple of left-handed pitchers on the mound. Cole Irvin, actually a little bit of history against him. Jose Ramirez, poor numbers, so nothing that scares us there. Steven Kwan has a hit, not surprising. Jimenez, 1 for 2. Nothing that really stands out. Against left-handed pitching, Jose Ramirez has great numbers this year. Fry has great numbers this year. Steven Kwan has great numbers this year. On the Orioles side of things, Anthony Santander, 2 for 3 against Logan Allen, against left-handed pitching this year, hitting .264. Wish that were a little higher. McCann hitting 1 for 3 against the starting pitcher, against lefties, 167. Austin Hayes has been red hot against lefties, hitting .348 so far this year. And Adley Rutschman, you guys know I have a massive crush on Adley Rutschman from a sports betting standpoint. The dude cashes so consistently. Over half a hit is available for Adley Rutschman right now. Over his last 10 games against the left-handed starter, he has a hit in 9 of them. He has 2 hits in 5 of them. He has been scorching hot against lefties, at home against lefties. 8 of his last 10 games he's got a hit. So Adley Rutschman over half a hit. Let's put that one up on the board as well. That's Adley Rutschman over half a hit. That's going to go with our Orioles on the money line and our Guardians Orioles over 8.5. Every pick that I make every day, I make available for free because I always believe that you guys should get access to it for free. If you guys want to get my picks every day, just DM me on Instagram. The name of my company is Butt Fumble Sports. It's the handle on TikTok. It's the handle on my YouTube channel, Butt Fumble Sports. That's 2 T's. Butt Fumble Sports. DM me on Instagram. I'll give away my picks for free. I believe in transparency. That's why I use the SHARPZ app. SHARPZ allows me to share my picks. Every time I make a bet, it automatically goes to SHARPZ. You can see every one that I make. You guys can follow along. So if you guys want to check it out, let me know. DM me on Instagram. G-Man, you know exactly what I'm talking about Adley Rutschman. Rakes against left-handed starting pitching, against left-handed pitching in general. So very happy to say he's available at over half a hit. John Ortiz, You're asking about the Red Sox and the Blue Jays. Let's go to Fenway Park, everybody, and let's check out Red Sox Blue Jays. We called that one accurately yesterday, at least in terms of Blue Jays plus 1.5. I was happy to see just one run across the board when the Red Sox got that win. Looking at the marketplace for this game, right now 82% of the tickets are on the Red Sox to win, 88% of the money. As for the spread, not surprising here, once again, Red Sox are getting 91% of the money, but only 59% of the, they're getting 91% of the tickets, but only 59% of the money. 41% of the money that's been bet on this game is on the Blue Jays to cover, plus 1.5. That's available at minus 185. That's what I took yesterday, and that's what cashed out. Over 9.5 is right now getting 79% of the tickets, 85% of the money. This is Kevin Gausman against Brian Bayo. Let's dive into the trends on this one, everyone. Blue Jays are mired in a terrible losing streak when they're in game 2 of a series and they're coming off a loss and they're on the road. They are 5-1 straight up and 5-1 on the run line. Very important to note. So even though they've had a losing streak, they've actually been a very good team off of an away loss, game 2 of a series. The under's been strong under the scenario as well, going 4-1-1. Kevin Gausman on the mound for the Blue Jays. Really quick, let's jump on over and see how Kevin Gausman has done so far this year. When he's been on the mound for the Blue Jays, they're 7-8 straight up, 8-7 on the run line. Over's been much better at 11-4. But when Kevin Gausman is pitching, coming off a Blue Jays loss, Blue Jays under that scenario are 5-4 straight up, 5-4 on the run line. Over's been 6-3. How about when they are on the road after they have a road loss? 3-1 straight up, 3-1 on the run line. So I'm kind of liking what I'm seeing from a Blue Jays plus 1.5 standpoint. Let's take a look at how they've done against teams with a winning record. Yes, the Red Sox have a winning record. Kevin Gausman this year against teams with a winning record, 4-7 straight up, 5-6 on the run line. Over's been much better at 8-3. Interesting to note there. How about when they're on the road against a winning team? Gausman, 3-1 on the run line, 2-2 straight up. Let's flip it around. Let's take a look at Brian Bayo. We're going to back into the Red Sox trends. First, looking at the starting pitcher. Bayo, 8-5 in his starts so far this year, but just one win in his last 4 starts. They're 5-8 on the run line. Over's been much better, 8-3-2. Over has value here. We'll keep our eye on the over. How about when he pitches at home? Brian Bayo, 2-3 straight up. Guys, we have another great trend for you. When Brian Bayo pitches at home this year against any opponent, regardless of quality, when he pitches at Fenway Park, Red Sox are 0-5 on the run line. I'm willing to put this one up on the board. I'm going to take the Blue Jays plus 1.5. We saw that market. There's a reason we go through that marketplace stats every time we look at a game. We want to see how the money's coming down. There was money coming down on the Blue Jays to cover plus 1.5. Makes a lot of sense to me. So we're putting that one up on the big board. That's Blue Jays plus 1.5. For all those that might have missed it, when Brian Bayo, the starting pitcher of the Red Sox, pitches at Fenway Park this year, the Red Sox are 0-5 on the run line. That paired very, very well with how the Blue Jays have done. I believe we said they were 5-1 straight up and 5-1 on the run line when they play game 2 of a series after an away loss in game 1. That's the scenario that they have tonight. We're always looking for a constellation of trends pointing us in the same direction. Not one trend, not two, but a series of them across the board. Really quick, I do want to jump over. I'm going to go back to that game in a moment because I'm curious about the over-under. But one of the reasons I'm jumping over to the player prop bets is maybe we can learn a little bit about how the over-under is going to play out based on the history of these hitters against the starting pitcher. And as I suspected, the Blue Jays hitters have phenomenal numbers against Brian Bayo. Vladimir Guerrero, 17 at-bats, 2 home runs, hitting .412 against Brian Bayo. Bo Bichette, 12 at-bats, hitting .417 against Bayo. Kirk's hitting .500 in 6 at-bats. George Springer, .389 in 18 at-bats. I know he's struggling of late. Justin Turner's 1 for 2. Meanwhile, on the other side, Kevin Gausman, there are some Red Sox who do damage against him. Jared Duran hitting .462 with 13 at-bats. Devers hitting 286 in 21 at-bats, no home runs. Yoshida, 4 for 6 with a home run included, and Reese McGuire. So expect some offense. I like the picks we have for this game. I'll take Blue Jays plus 1.5. I'll take Blue Jays and Red Sox. And I'm going to take the over. I'll buy it down, and I'll buy it at 8.5. Don't like it at the 9 right now. If you want to take Blue Jays and Red Sox over 8.5, you could find that right now at minus 160. Certainly happy to do that. So those are 2 more picks on the board. As for a couple of player prop bets, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., if he were available, I'd jump all over the opportunity to bet on him over half a hit. It's not. It's at 1.5. Against the Red Sox at Fenway Park, he has over 1.5 hits in 5 of his last 6 games. I'm actually willing to take the rare chance on this. Vladimir Guerrero Jr., I'll take over 1.5 hits. I think he has another multi-hit game. I'm also looking for over 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs. That one's not going to be available for a number of sports books. Over half an RBI is a very interesting one for me as well. At Fenway Park, he has an RBI in 4 of his last 5. So I'll also take Vlad Guerrero Jr. over half an RBI. And yes, he is someone I'd look for a home run tonight. I know he hit one yesterday. I absolutely believe he has the opportunity to have another deep fly at Fenway Park as he's been put on the trade market. So keep your eye on Vlad Guerrero Jr., someone I'm very big on tonight. On the other side of things, Jared Duran he's on fire. Over half a hit, not available. He's at 1.5 hits for sure. And that's not a great market for him, actually. He's only had that in 4 of his last 7 games against the Blue Jays. He does have over 1.5 hits in 6 of his last 10 games, which is phenomenal. But me personally, I like the over half a run. He has a run in 8 of his last 10 games overall. At home, he has a run in 7 of his last 8 games overall. I take Jared Duran over half a run. So a couple of picks that go kind of contrary to where we normally make our bets. But Vlad Guerrero Jr. over 1.5 hits. Vlad Guerrero Jr. over half an RBI. And Jared Duran over half a run. A couple of bets that we like for that Red Sox and Blue Jays game. And those very much match the narrative of over 8.5 runs. Appreciate you guys being with us. Hope you guys are enjoying the content and the conversation. Make sure you hit the follow button. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you're with us every time we go live. I love talking sports every day. It's my favorite thing to do on this earth. I've been a producer for Jim Rome. I've been a producer at CBS Sports, Fox Sports. I've worked at ESPN. That's what I love to do, and that's why I do this every single day that I can. Get on these channels and these platforms to talk sports with all of you. I am going to throw a couple of other picks just on the board, just because I like them, but we won't spend any time looking at the trends. I like the Royals on the money line. Royals on the money line is absolutely one that I would go with. I'd also take the Astros on the money line. I do have a bit of trepidation there because Hunter Brown has been actually a terrible pitcher to bet on for the Astros. Fortunately, he's going up against Austin Gomber. Not great numbers, and I believe the Astro bats are starting to cook up, heat up in the right way. So Royals money line and Astros money line, 2 picks we've added to the big board, just being a bit more efficient with our time though. Keep your eye on the Oakland Athletics to cover. That's another one I'd have my eye on. Oakland Athletics to cover. They're plus 1.5. I think the A's are going to cover this game. I'm willing to put that one up on the big board as well. Oakland Athletics plus 1.5. Keep your eye on that one. I mentioned at the start of the show, on Tuesdays so far this year, the Oakland Athletics are the best team in baseball on the run line on Tuesdays. Why? I can't explain it, but that's the way it is. They are 10-2 on the run line so far this season on a Tuesday. When they have played on the road on a Tuesday, they are, drumroll please, 5-0 on the run line. You heard that correct, they're 5-0. Interesting to note, the Guardians are 6-0. So even though I had the Orioles to win, maybe the Orioles plus 1.5 has some value to it. Orioles plus 1.5. No one's betting on that one, so for anyone out there, maybe that's something that's been a trend that's been very hot. Guardians plus 1.5 might be something we want to throw some money on right now. Just keep your eye on that. Appreciate you guys being with us. Hope you guys are enjoying the show. Make sure you follow. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you're with us every time we go live. Will the picks be on the SHARPZ app? Yes, they will. I am literally going to place these picks the moment we end our show. So for all of those watching, make sure that you guys DM me on Instagram to get every pick that I make every day for free. Diego, I'm going Astros over the Rockies. JP, Nationals and Padres. Great question. The over the 7.5 has me scratching my head a little bit. I feel like it goes over. I feel like the over 7.5 is a good play. The only reason I'm concerned is because the weather actually is really downplaying home runs and overall runs. A little bit cautious there. So personally, I'm not going to touch the total for that one, JP, but I understand why you're looking at it. That 7.5 felt low, but the weather isn't playing to our advantage on that one. And I also understand the starting pitching matchup. Mackenzie Gore's pitched pretty well. Yordan Alvarez home run against Gomber. Let's go quickly check out that Astros game because I actually feel like that is one that we could get some deep flies. We'll also touch on Dodgers, White Sox in a moment. But Rockies, they're in Houston, so this game obviously being played down there under the dome most likely. Ryan McMahon, 2 for 3 lifetime against Hunter Brown. It includes a home run. Against righties, he's hitting .259. Keep your eye on Ryan McMahon. He's been a very good play so far this year. Over half a hit. He has a hit in 9 of his last 10 games. Against a righty, he has a hit in 7 of his last 8 games overall. I kind of like Ryan McMahon over half a hit. I'll put that one up on the big board right now. Ryan McMahon over half a hit. Going back to the Houston side of it, against Austin Gomber, Dubon, I really like. 3 for 10 lifetime. It includes a home run. Yordan Alvarez, 0 for 2. Doesn't have me fading it. But Jose Altuve, 2 for 3 lifetime. It includes a home run. He's hitting .329 against lefties this year. Dubon and Altuve are the two I really like. Altuve over half a hit's available. He has a hit in 7 of his last 10. Against left-handed starters, 7 of his last 10. He's had a multi-hit game in 5 straight against left-handed pitching. At home against the left-handed pitcher, he has a hit in 8 of his last 9 games. Let's put Jose Altuve on the board as well. Jose Altuve over half a hit. Very much like that play as well, adding that one to the list. Again, if you miss any of the picks, we give them away for free every single day. So just DM me on Instagram. That's all you got to do to see every bet that we make every single day. We are taking Yankees on the money line. Yankees on the money line to answer your question. Chris, Angels to win. I think I prefer the Athletics to cover more than I like the Angels to win. So that's the side I would prefer to play. By the way, I have one more pick that I'd like to throw up on the board. This one I saw earlier today about the Mariners. Let's take a look at the Mariners and Rays. Mariners, second game of a series after an away loss, 5-3 so far this year. When they are a away favorite under that scenario, only 1-2. Rays on the other side of things, Rays after a home win, and they're in game 2 of the series, 2-2 straight up, 2-2 on the run line. Under is 3-1. Zach Little on the mound for the Rays, jumping on over and seeing how he has done against teams with a winning record when he is pitched at home. It's 2 L's in that last name. Under that scenario, though, 3-3 straight up, nothing standing out. Luis Castillo. When Luis Castillo has pitched on the road so far this year. Mariners 3-5, 2-6 on the run line. Under's been 5-2. When they've been an away favorite, 2-2 straight up, 1-3 on the run line. Over under 1-3. The fact that the Rays are an underdog, there's a part of me that really likes Rays plus 1.5. That's what I was getting at with that research. I understand it's not a high enough confidence level for me to maybe put it on the board. It's close though. I'll put it up there. I'm gonna take Rays plus 1.5. So I'll throw the Rays plus 1.5 up there. At home, I like this one. I know I saw a trend earlier that has the Mariners as a very heavy, strong trend play. But everything else I just looked at goes the other way. I'm liking the Rays to cover the +1.5. Let's take a quick look at that Rays and Mariners game from a player prop bet standpoint. Josh Rojas, against a right-handed starter, does have a hit in 5 of his last 7. On the road, not good enough. Rays side of things against Luis Castillo. Josh Lau, 6 of his last 10 against a righty at home. Man, yikes. No player prop bets I like for that game. Let's take a look at the player prop bets for the Dodgers and the White Sox, everybody. Dodgers and White Sox. Chris Flexen. Kike Hernandez, good numbers against him. Jason Hayward, good numbers against him. Nothing from the stars you would expect. Freeman, just 1 for 5. But Freeman, always a strong play. Hit with a .339 average against right-handed starting pitching. On the other side of things against Bobby Miller, no great numbers for the Dodgers. Personally, I would take Freddie Freeman. That's what I was going to pull out here. Over half a hit is available. He has a hit in 8 of his last 10 games. You can put him on the board. Yes, sir. Freddie Freeman, over half a hit. I would take him and the Dodgers to win this game as well. Dodgers on the money line. Next pick we're putting up on the board. Appreciate you guys being with us. Hope you guys are loving the content, the conversation, the research. That's what we do here. We're not a sports book. We're not associated with any sports book. We just love doing research every day, diving into the numbers and trying to find the best bets based on the research. That's what we're all about. So make sure you follow, make sure you subscribe, make sure you're always with us. Never seen this many picks on the big board. Part of that is I didn't do my pre-show research. So actually one of the reasons I'm throwing this up here is I haven't narrowed some of these down. So I'm throwing a lot of them up here. But frankly, I love the picks that we have. The weather's favoring some offense. That's part of the reason that we're about it. So that's one of the reasons we're seeing the picks up on the big board, Brian, like we are. Great to have you guys with us. Hope you guys are loving being with us. Hit the follow button. Hit the subscribe button. That way you never miss the show. We're live every single day we can be. With that said, I am going to jump off the air now. DM me on Instagram if you missed any of my picks. DM me on Instagram right now. We give them away for free. So DM Butt Fumble Sports. My handle on Instagram, Butt Fumble Sports. All one word, Butt Fumble Sports. DM me on Instagram to get every bet that I make. We give them away for free. Never behind a paywall, never hidden. A lot of transparency so you can see every bet that I make and that I'm about to make. They're always available to you guys for free every single day. So DM me on Instagram. I hope you guys follow. I hope you subscribe. I hope you're with us when we are live again at 4:30 tomorrow, everybody. 4:30 on Wednesday. We might come on a bit earlier as well because we have some day baseball. So I actually might come on earlier in the morning. So make sure you follow Butt Fumble Sports. That way you know every time we go live, whether it's in the morning or a regular show in the afternoon. That way you're always in touch with us when we decide to go live and do our research. Appreciate you guys being with us. I hope you stay healthy. I hope you stay safe. I hope you have a wonderful Tuesday night. Enjoy this full slate of baseball because we have officially hit baseball mofo season because there's nothing else to watch. So enjoy that baseball, get those picks in, and DM me on Instagram if you missed any of our picks. Until tomorrow, have a great night, everybody. Goodbye.